What's going on, everybody? This is Island Hopper TV, and today we're coming to you from Paris, France, here with the top 25 things to do. We're going to go all across Paris and show you the very best. With a metropolitan population of around 12.4 million people, it is one of the largest cities in all of Europe. First up, coming to you from the Palace of Versailles. This is about a 50-minute drive just outside of Paris. The original foundation was put in place by Louis XIII in 1623, and it was eventually turned into a hunting lodge and the royal residence in 1682. Now, the interesting thing about this is it was the French court and government until the French Revolution happened in 1789. When the people of France stormed the palace, they actually did away with the monarchy, and that was what eventually led to the rise of Napoleon Bonaparte. And now you can actually walk all around the gardens and this beautiful palace. I highly recommend coming out here if you're going to Paris. Ticket prices range from 10 euros all the way up to 27 euros depending on what ticket type you get. Be sure to verify if it's musical fountains or musical gardens day. And now here we are at the Disneyland Paris, which is an entertainment resort located about 32 kilometers, that's 20 miles east of Paris. And there is 2 theme parks here, 7 Disney-owned hotels, and 2 convention centers with a golf course and an arena. Lots of shopping here as well, dining and entertainment. So if you're in the area, come on out here. Tickets start at around 67 euros per person and then go up from there depending on what kind of experience you want to have. Now here we have a day trip. We're going to go out to Normandy, which is around 3 hours and 13 minutes by train from here. If you took a bus, it's going to be longer, so I definitely recommend the train. This is Mont Saint-Michel. Now this castle is impressive, and you can see it does change depending on the tides. And the island actually has the highest tides in Europe, with a difference of 50 feet between low and high tide. The entrance fee to get into the Abbey is around 11 euro. I would suggest going online and trying to book ahead of time. And next up, we're headed over to the Avenue of Champs-Élysées. This is the most famous avenue in all of Paris, and some would say it is the most famous avenue in the entire world. I have walked it, but I would recommend possibly getting a scooter or a bike to actually transit the whole thing. The benefit of walking, though, is you can stop and shop and check out some of the cafes and restaurants along the way. And at the end of the avenue is the Arc de Triomphe, which was built to honor those who fought and died for France in the French Revolutionary and Napoleonic Wars. And nearby is Montmartre, which is actually a neighborhood here located on a hill. That's where it gets its name, Mont or Monte, which is basically mountain or hill. And here you're gonna find bohemian vibes and lots of cafes, restaurants. If you're looking for an evening atmosphere or late afternoon, I would highly recommend coming here at least one of the days you're in Paris. For me, this is one of the most relaxing areas. But then again, it depends on what time of year, because Paris does get a lot of tourists. And as you continue to walk up the hill, you'll go to the top where you're going to see the Sacre Coeur, which is actually a very large, beautiful basilica in the form of a Greek cross adorned with 4 domes. And its central dome is actually 83 meters high. Originally built after the Franco-Prussian War of 1870 to 1871 as a symbol of peace and repentance from violence, France wanted to honor those who lost in the war and bring hope to the nation. And the first stone was laid in 1875 and then completed in 1914. Then finally consecrated in 1919, just after World War I. Sacre Coeur is actually located on the tallest hill in all of the city of Paris. Now here we are at the world famous Eiffel Tower. Originally built as a temporary tower in 1889 for the World's Fair, it was to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the French Revolution. It was only meant to be standing for 20 years and dismantled in 1909. However, some scientists and the French military decided it had potential as a radio transmission tower. In case you're wondering where it gets its name, it's after the engineer Gustave Eiffel. And when it was built, it stood as the tallest structure in the world for 41 years. And right nearby is the Le Trocadero, located right across the Seine River from the Eiffel Tower. And as we continue to show you around Paris, I'd like to let you know we did make a video talking about the 25 best cities in all of Europe, so if you're interested, check the comments below. Also, if you're enjoying this video, please consider giving it a like and subscribing to the channel as we continue to show you around Paris. And located right here at the Trocadero is going to be the Palais De Chaillot. And you can see right here, it's a very beautiful palace right here at the very end of the park and gardens area. And this is one of the most iconic locations in all of Paris because of its view of the Eiffel Tower as you walk into the area where the tower sits. So definitely consider coming out here while you visit the Eiffel Tower. And in the same area, you can actually do a river tour boat of the River Seine, or in English, some people call it Seine, but it's actually pronounced the Seine River. And here you can get one of these boats that go up and down the river, whether it be in the afternoon or at sunset. It seems like if you can get a sunset riverboat tour on the Seine River, you might just be a happy person in the evening time. The average tour length is about 1 hour. All right, here we are at the Notre Dame Cathedral. This is one of the most famous Gothic cathedrals in the world, located right here in the heart of Paris. It did take over 180 years to build, and it's known for its legendary gargoyles and chimeras that you'll see around here. Victor Hugo's novel actually saved it, but it did burn down April 15, 2019. It has since been rehabilitated, and they say it's better than ever. So even though you may have been before the fire, you may actually want to come back and see what's new. And another peaceful area to hang out is the Tuileries Gardens. I like it because it's got colorful flowers, especially in the springtime. You'll even see some cherry blossoms here, but very beautiful place. They've got the Ferris wheel, and it's just a nice place to walk around and chill. And they've got a nice fountain that helps relax you. And it was actually created by Catherine de' Medici in 1564. Here we are now at Paris Metro. This is one of the oldest and busiest, most efficient subway systems in the world, officially opened in the year 1900. It's now the second busiest metro in Europe, just after the Moscow Metro, with an average passenger daily volume of 4 million people. With a total of 303 stations across 16 lines, it's the most extensive and dense metro systems in the world. Interesting fact is it was actually opened during the World's Fair along with the Eiffel Tower. So that World's Fair in 1900 was a big one. Also, if you're looking to get around Paris and save some money and get around efficiently, this is probably one of the best ways to do it. That and maybe an Uber. Now, when it comes to nightlife, one of the best areas to go is the Moulin Rouge, that is in Montmarte. But I would say there are several areas across Paris for nighttime activities, including walking around the Eiffel Tower at night. But Moulin Rouge, as you guys know, if you've seen the movie, you know what goes on in there. So that may be an interesting place for you to go because this is the original. Now, it is a cabaret that is open to people who are aged 4 and up, although it is recommended for 12 and up. Now, here we are at Musee D'orsay, which is actually one of the most famous museums in all of Paris. Again, another one of those art relics, and if you really love art, you've got to check this one out. But don't forget about Musée de Louvre, and this is the world's largest museum with 782,000 square feet, bigger than 280 tennis courts. It has 403 rooms, over 35,000 pieces of art. It was originally a medieval fortress built in 1190, and then in 1546, King Francis transformed it into a royal palace, and it became a public museum in 1793 during the French Revolution. It's also home to the famous Leonardo da Vinci painting Mona Lisa, and known for the iconic glass pyramid entrance that was built in 1989. And believe it or not, there was some controversy surrounding the building of that pyramid entrance. Here we are at the Luxembourg Gardens, another beautiful garden. This is even bigger than Tuileries, and you'll walk around here and spend so many hours just trying to familiarize yourself with this place. It's a good place to go in the morning for meditation or for pondering your thoughts. Nice place to go, do some exercise as well. So if getting out there and getting that blood flowing early in the morning is something for you, come out here to the Luxembourg Gardens. Now here we are at the Galeries Laffayette. This is actually one of the most famous department stores in all the world, and it's Parisian style. It's also known for its iconic glass dome that was built in 1912. Now we're going to go get some more culture. Here we are at Palais Garniers, which is actually an opera house. For those of you who want to see a real European opera, I couldn't think of a better place for you to go than here at Garniers. Considering many call it the most beautiful opera house in the world, nicknamed the Cathedral of Opera. And it was built by Napoleon in 1860, part of a competition to build a new opera house. And be sure to check out Paris cafes because the cafe culture here is quite unique. Also, you have the Latin Quarter. This is a great place to go for those Paris cafes. There's so many different areas around Paris for you to explore. Getting a croissant in the morning with a cup of coffee. Seems like a lot of Parisians smoke cigarettes, so when you're in those cafes, be ready for that. Now let's talk about French food here in Paris. Obviously, they have the croissants. You can get them filled with chocolate. Also, they have creme brulee, and they have so many different baguettes or pastries for you to try. When I came here, I tried some rabbit. They also have escargot, which is like a snail. They have pork chops, French onion soup. I really enjoy that one. That one's delicious. But really, all you have to do is just go into a French restaurant and ask the waiter what they recommend. Now here we are doing some wine tasting. For those of you who love wine, we also have Champagne nearby, so you can head out to Champagne and check out that area where the vineyards are and try that grape, which ends up being a sparkling wine. So wine tasting here in France, very famous, and you can do it right here in Paris. And for those of you who really love palaces, check out the Chantilly. Chantilly Palace is, maybe some people prefer this one over the Palace of Versailles, but I decided to put it in here towards the end for those of you who are looking to do some more day trips outside the city to check out palaces you have not already seen. Chantilly is known as the town of elegance, horses, and whipped cream. Also, the fairy tale castle. It is about 25 minutes by train, but if you go by car, it's 45 minutes. Again, trains are better. And now we're going to do something a bit different here and check out Louis Vuitton Foundation. So it is worth it to check this one out, especially those of you who like the designer. But it is a art exhibit in a unique setting. You can see the architecture is a bonus. And it's actually one of the most modern structures built here in Paris, originally opened in 2014. And it's built to resemble sailing ship with glass sails. And now we're going to head over to the Place Vendome, which is actually Paris's luxury square. This is one of the most elegant, luxurious squares, known for its high-end jewelry, stores, historic architecture, and famous hotels. And on that note, that's going to conclude this episode of Island Hopper TV. You can also watch Rome next by clicking the link.